And I said, you don't even know me, what are you talking about? And we chatted some more, and he really liked what EAPA was doing at the time before we had to fold. And I stayed for the weekend, I learned about what ACF was doing, and I really fell in love with it. So what we're doing, and I've kind of changed our trajectory in the last year. I came on as the Director of Operations in August of last year, and our mission statement, yeah, it's 1 million flight plans for life, but what does that mean? That means we all understand that the workforce shortages in aviation are looming. There's, 700 to 800,000 pilot shortage, the same for mechanics and operations officials, and we want more diversity in aviation. How else can we grow? How can we get to that 2 million mark? We need people of minority populations. We need to touch those underserved kids. We need to touch the at-risk youth that could be doing something very, very bad, but could choose aviation and be like, wow, I actually have an opportunity here. And that's why I really love that Ascend has a program of scholarships, because a lot of these kids come from backgrounds that otherwise couldn't afford to be in aviation, but giving them the chance of tasting flight is pretty amazing. So we are also an umbrella organization, just like EAPA was. We're pretty exclusive to the programs that we take on, and we're serving about 100,000 students across the country right now through these dozen programs. Vaughn College and Aviation High School are in New York. So it's Cradle of Aviation Museum and the CAP Squadron X. Universal Elite Aerospace is down in Houston at the Lone Star Flight Museum, I believe. Aerospace Center for Excellence is Sun and Fun with the Central Florida Aviation High School. Stripes to Bars is a veteran organization. They take recent veterans that want to get their pilot's license and they fully fund them, which is super cool. So that's another minority group that people don't often think. They're very underserved most of the time. A lot of them are homeless and they just want to do something different. So they give them their pilot's license. Experience Aviation, does anybody know who Barrington Irving is? He flew around the world. He's from Jamaica. He lives in Miami now. He flew around the world, and he actually spoke at my high school in my junior year, and that was another one of those pivotal moments to be like, wow, I really like aviation. He's like the woman Shasta Weiss that also flew around the world. At the time, he was the youngest one. OBAP is the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, the Hiller Aviation Museum I worked on, obviously. And Tuskegee Next is our newest program. They're in Chicago. And they take really at-risk kids. Like, they could choose to either go join a gang or go get their pilot's license, and they have a choice there. They take kids from their Father's Day weekend all the way to the end of August, and in a residential camp, every day they learn stuff on how to fly, and by the end of it, they get uniforms. It takes $25,000 per kid, but by the end of the summer, they all get their pilot's license for free. Yeah. Wow. So we take these pretty high-performing programs and we make them better. We serve them in many different ways. We're creating pipeline programs for students and educators. We're different than any other program like AOPA or EAA. We're different in the way that we treat our students and our educators. We hold them equal. We don't put students first. We put educators right there beside them because they are the gateway to the students. And if you don't support the educators, you don't support the students. So we really try and do our best of doing these 2 pipeline programs. Oh, these are pictures from when I got hired in the pretty mountains of Colorado. So what we do with these pipelines, the simplest way to put it is a trio of investments. The first component is a financial investment. We give out educators grants, which is a trademark term of ACF, up to $2,500 to one of our affiliated educators to grow their skill set. Get a pilot's license, go to an educational seminar, go to a conference. And for students, we're giving them a scholarship to go to college or pursue a career, just like what Jim is doing. Pretty much whatever you want to do, but be good at it. For the secondary investment, that's a personal investment. We give them professional development opportunities and a high-quality mentorship. And then the third one is a leadership and workforce development investment. And for educators, that's our biannual ACF Elevate workshop, which we hold in Silicon Valley every year, and that's to make our educators better. We talk about thought leadership and strategy and how to make your nonprofit run more smoothly. And then for students, that's going to turn into a really high-quality internship where they get paid a living wage, just like I did with the fellowship. I'm modeling it just after that at these high-performing companies that also believe in diversity and inclusion. 2 sponsors right now. Sorry, I need a sip of water. Two of our sponsors are minority and women-owned businesses, and that's who we try to target. So some of the events that we've done, we took 45 people to the National Business Aviation Base Conference in Orlando last October. That was our retreat in August, where I got hired in the Keystone Mountains of Colorado. This is at Aviation High School in New York. The Fly Girls book, which was a national bestseller. Author Keith O'Brien right there spoke to 40 of our girls, and we sponsored him to speak to them and also give them a free copy of his book. We've partnered with Cirrus Aircraft, and we've taken them to Aviation High School to do a speaking engagement, because a lot of those students come from first-generation background immigrant families, and the average household median income, which just gets me every time, in the middle of New York, for those students, is $38,000 to live in New York, which is like nothing. So they want to get into the workforce right when they get out of high school. It's a 4 to 5 year program. At the 4-year mark, when they graduate as seniors, they have their airframe. But to get onto the power plant portion of their A&P mechanic certificate, they have to spend one more year. And then they can go right into JetBlue or JFK or any of those big airlines out there based at JFK. But we brought in Cirrus to tell them, hey, you don't have to just work at JFK in the third shift and mess up your knees. You could be a really cool field representative where you get your own Cirrus aircraft, you're a salesman, and you fly to repair people's planes in your own airplane. There's some kids learning about what an FBO management job is like. This is my tour of Cirrus Aircraft. That's Erin. She's the CEO of marketing there. And then this is all of our program leaders that we got, that we brought to EAA in Orlando. Signature is one of our biggest sponsors right now. This is Anthony Oceanuga. He is I think the only African-American aerobatic pilot right now, and I think he's going to become a champion this year, if my bets are pretty right. So something really awesome about my job is that I get to travel at least once a month. It's been a learning curve, but it's pretty awesome. So I've been to places like DC. This is my boss, Ethan. He's our founder. He has had a passion for aviation his whole life, and he started ACF in 2016 with just a wing and a prayer, basically. We were in DC for this woman right here. This is Sharon Pinkerton. She is on our advisory board. She works for Airlines for America, which is kind of like ACF for airlines. They all band together and do policy and lobbying, but also community outreach for the airlines. She was winning an award for the Airline Executives Association. On the top was the Tuskegee Next Red Tail Ball, which is the 3rd annual one I went to. And I showed up a few days early, and I worked 13-hour days to help them finish up their ball planning. And on the right is one of our board members, Tom Regay. There's Ethan speaking at the Cirrus CX event, which is a week-long Cirrus conference in January in Knoxville. This was our Educators Grant launch. As I mentioned earlier, ACF really is different because we hold educators equal. And we awarded Kenneth Morris our first Educators Grant. He won the Force to Flyers program. He's a veteran and a homeless one at the time. So we gave him our max grant to pursue his flight training so he can lead a better life for himself and his students. And then the future. Getting back to that word. So I wanted to add more photos to this, but didn't have Wi-Fi. But I'm really looking forward to the future. I think I have a lot of really good things coming up. The first one, Morgan and I are getting married in October. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be Sugar Valley. We're hosting it there because Sugar Valley has a very strong place in my heart, just like EAA 1083 does. Morgan and I actually were both volunteering there before we even knew each other, so we found that out a little bit later on. We're going to be relocating to Colorado because ACF is technically headquartered there in Broomfield, which is like halfway between Boulder and Denver. Not sure on the date yet, but we will be relocating at some point. He and I both want to get our private pilot's license at some point because I tried to do it, but it just was a little too expensive at the time. We want to continue to expand ACF, growing into Canada. I have a lot of potential partnerships growing there. And then internationally, my next stop is New Zealand, actually. And then my theme of the day is continuing to give back to the aviation community. I say that because the aviation community has given me so much, and I think everybody can agree with that for each other. Aviation in my heart is picking up the kid behind me and then pushing the person in front of me. I really believe in, helping each other out and the power of collaboration. And I think being in Ascend and being with 1083 and Sugar Valley and all these amazing local programs gave so much to me. And if I can have a voice nationally or internationally, and I can give that to other kids and young people and educators, that's what this whole program has taught me, and I want to share that with everybody. There's my contact info if anybody needs it or wants to, let me know if they have a really awesome aviation program or something. Obviously, Ascend is the next one on my list. We just got to figure out how to expand locally too here. But I really want to thank all of you for letting me speak today. I know I kind of was a little long-winded there, but I really appreciate the time and you all listening. This means a whole lot to me, so thank you. Yeah.